Hello, everyone. My mom. Hey, Boomy. Hey, Greg. I'm glad you finally got your stuff back up. It's good that you're gonna start your YouTube again. I miss your ventures out. Are you there, Carl?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can a little bit. You need to turn it up just a little bit.
I've been freaking trying to work this out for the past up to the very last second. Literally. Oh, this
He said, Boomy says he can't hear. He doesn't have no radio tonight, so he can't hear nothing.
is that better?
Yeah, it is. I can actually hear you now.
Okay. Come on.
Yes, I am doing Scorpios, which also is what like James Dawson does a lot of. Sure, now I can't think of his name. That's pretty bad. Charles Manson. I am not doing Charles Manson because he's not a serial killer. He did not commit the murder, so I am yeah, he's not part of my list to put on because he actually didn't do the killings.
No. It, but the thing is about now, the one thing about him is he was actually a quite brilliant man. He was
Oh yeah,
psychotic, but he was very quite brilliant.
right. Well, so was Hitler, but he didn't do the killing. So
Exactly. So it, to me, it seems like lately, seems like that the ones
Ray
um
David.
that are really smart are the ones that do commit the murders. A
Well,
lot of
and
them that
that's
do commit
just
murders are quite
very
brilliant.
smart. They are
Yes.
very smart,
Hey,
and
Mom.
that's what a lot of people assume that they've got to be dumb. Okay, well, how are serial killers dumb if they kill more than four people and get away with it for years? Some people don't get caught until like
Oh
they've
yeah,
already done an audit. And one of the guys I'm talking about tonight did just that. He did all his killings and then literally just stopped and lived his
hey
life.
Greg. Yeah.
Huh?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely is. That's the hard part is getting away with it, and you pretty much you do. You got to be pretty much really brilliant because you got to stay above, ahead of everybody.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's the ones that do that are not the experience, and they just randomly just do it. They're just
Yeah.
like a one timer. They're the ones that get caught the easiest because they don't know what they're doing. They're not that. They don't really think
It's
things
not
through.
premeditated.
Right. They don't really think it. So that's why they do get caught so easier. Hey,
Yes.
Greg. So hope everybody's doing okay today.
Yes, I hope everyone's doing well. And a big shout out to Miss Emmy. It is her birthday today.
You old woman. All right. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Will this work? Yeah, I hate that. I do not look good. I hate myself.
You're fine. I like that color orange on you anyway.
Oh, thanks. I like this better. This one. This better. That's
Oh
much
yeah,
better.
we like when you do that. I do too.
I like this. So, uh, oh, I'll tell it to her face.
Yeah,
She's
I
an
was
old
gonna
woman.
say, come on now. We talk to Emmy on a daily, so
Oh yeah, I'll tell her. I'll tell her to her face.
right,
You're an old.
right.
You're an old woman.
Um, the first one I'm coming across is Robert Picton, the pig farm killer from Canada.
Interesting.
Yeah, right. Typical guy. He was born in October 26, 1949. Ah, Mom says you better watch it.
You're young. You're young. You ain't but 46. Saying. Yeah.
Almost, yeah, I'll be 47 in April.
No, I'm talking about mom. She's about 46 now. So okay, so 1946. You said
49.
49. So
Hmm.
okay.
And he is still alive because of the laws in Canada changed, so they couldn't sentence him to death. Mom
I'm
says
surprised.
turn
I'm
that
surprised. Well,
around.
wow. So wait a minute. So he should be about
Mom would be
roughly.
more. My mom would be my age.
No. Okay. So he's okay. So he's still alive in prison, right?
Yes,
So he should be about what?
I'm
Let's
trying
see,
to remember. I think
1949. He
he's
should be about almost what, 80s?
80
What's the
something. Yeah.
90s, isn't he?
I can't remember how old he is. I can't.
Oh,
I
let's see.
just.
It's amazing he's lasted that long in prison. Really, honestly.
Yeah.
73.
Yeah, he was
Okay,
73. Yeah.
73.
Yep.
That's
That's still
amazing to
actually
live.
pretty good nowadays. 73 people, most people are still kicking and doing a lot at 73.
Well, yes, but not in prison. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So exactly what did he do? I mean, what did he do to, how was he, what did he do to, as far as the,
Hey,
his
Ghostly.
murder? How did he murder them?
Um, this guy, like I said, he starts out. Um, it's Vancouver, Canada. Um, and the kind of funny thing is, this whole thing starts out. It was a family owned pig farm, and his parents felt like not a place for a young woman to be, so they sent their um, daughter and his sister to family members outside of the pig farm to go live. But during this whole time, this is what I think is what caused him to kill and use the pigs. Is because his mom and his father prioritories, bleh, I can't even say the word, privatized pigs. They were more important than him and his brother were.
Oh, prioritized the
Yes,
pigs
yes.
over him.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they're
like
more.
literally, he mom would send them to school smelling as of pigs. Um,
Wow.
yeah, all of it. Mom didn't care. You take care of those pigs, then you go to school, and yeah, that was
I mean, that
yeah.
had to be
So,
embarrassing to go to school like
oh
that,
yeah,
honestly.
absolutely, and you know that was embarrassing. That's also causing. You know, he got bullied.
Oh, of course. Ghostly Man, we're
Hey, Haley.
um, talking about the pig farm killer,
Yeah, his name is
Canada.
Robert Picton. Yeah, Robert Picton, and he's from and it's Vancouver, Canada is where his farm is. Let me see. I have share pictures from so I can show you where share screen. So like this is what the farm looked like.
Oh, wow.
There's
That's
all kinds
pretty.
of pictures.
That's pretty.
Obviously, that's what he looks like. I mean, it just ew. I mean, yeah, that's all kinds of stuff.
That explains a lot. I mean,
Oh yeah,
wow.
right. I agree there. It does.
Eh, That's, I th how
Thanks,
they get
David.
treated, how they're treated like that, I think also predetermines how they're gonna be later on, you know,
Absolutely,
doing
absolutely.
like that.
A lot of this, it started in 1905. His grandparents, after the first European settled in the area, him, William Picton, and his, um, actually, Yeah, grew up. He bought the farm long, so it started in 1905. And then 1963, his father and his mother bought 40 acres of a swamp at 18,000, and then towed their house to this part of land and did the farming there with pigs. Um, in 1978, so not long after that, the boy's father died, and then the mother died a year later. So he inherited him and his brother and his sister inherited the farm, but mostly it was him. Um, 1994, they struck it rich. Their farmland was now worth $7.2 million from what his father bought it in 1963. Um, that year, a fall of 94, they sold a part of the farm for 1.7 million to Eternal Holdings, a townhouse development company. The same year, Portland also bought a chunk of their land for 1.2 million and turned it into a park. So not only did the area start not with the farm being just a pig farm, people were buying the acreage around it. So he had other things surrounding him now.
Hey, Bluegrass.
Hey, Bluegrass.
So,
In 1995, um, a part of the school district also bought part of the pig farm for 2.3 million and built Blackburn Elementary School on the site. It was around this time when the Pictons became millionaires that the women began to go missing in alarming numbers for the DES. See, he started getting money in for the farm, and of
what's
course it was hookers and whatnot that he was taking um, and disposing of.
so it wasn't so okay. So the women that he was killing weren't like anybody in the mid to high society. They were like the low society, like you said, the hookers, the streetwalkers, or whatever.
Yeah.
Basically, it basically is the people that and it sounds like okay. Chose the ones that nobody would miss them if they were gone. Nobody would miss them really.
And I've said that multiple times. Serial killers tend to choose these women because they easily get into vehicles, and nine
Right.
times out of 10, they don't have family looking for them.
Right, because they're already, lost, outcast, and everything else that, just don't, yeah, they don't, uh, yeah, so they wouldn't be missing it. They could just take care of them, take them and kill them and dump them and whatnot. And
Yeah.
that's amazing though that how they do get caught when they're doing that way because, all right, who's turning them in? Who's saying, okay, this person's missing, where they're at? That's the part I don't understand is how they still getting caught by that. How
Right.
do they know they're killing
Obviously,
anybody?
somebody cares enough to.
Well, it could be, one of their, because, usually hookers are sometimes they're in the groups because, they're a group. You got the pimp, you got the group, and they're all there, they're there. So, one and they be two become friends with other hookers, and sometimes they will raise questions if they're missing. So,
Yep, and then all a bunch of women eventually came. It was Kathleen, and then there was a whole bunch of different women that came, and it didn't cease until 2001, according to Lincoln Clarks, a photographer who took photos of the five women whose remains ultimately be found on the farm. They can be seen in his book Heroines. Another factor contributed to the sudden rise of women missing women In 1986, after making his small fortune, David, his brother, left the family farm and moved a mile or less down the road to be in a new property. He opened a party hall called Piggy's Palace. So his brother opened another place down the road called Piggy's Palace. So now Robert had the whole farm to himself, and nobody was going to, oh, what are you doing? What is this? Or questioning anything he was doing now on the farm.
Hmm.
In 2002, police executed a search warrant for illegal firearms at the property owned by Picton and his three siblings. He was taken into custody, and police then obtained second court order to search the farm as part of the BC Missing Women investigation. When personal items, including a prescription asthma inhaler belonging to one of the missing women, was found. The farm was sealed off by members of the Joint RCMP Vancouver Police Department Task Force. The following day, Picton was charged with storing a firearm contrary to regulations, possession of a firearm without a license. He was later released and was kept under police surveillance. Later that month, Picton was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Selena and Mona. So there, see, that was another thing is he was if he hadn't collected and kept souvenirs, as you if you want to keep call it that,
That's
of
usually what
his
I call it.
yeah of souvenirs as they would call it from their victims, he probably would have never gotten caught.
I was say usually that's what will get you caught quick, and that's where they're stupid about that. But you know, it's like anything. You do something when you
Hey,
have an
Vinny,
obsession of something, and that's what that is. That's an obsession.
thank
To,
you.
and you have to have something to remind you because when you dump whatever it is, it's gone. You have your memory, but you want something physical to hold on to, so that way you can hold it and it makes it more memorable. So yeah, that's the thing. That's why they do take the souvenirs, but
Yeah,
that's also what gets you too, because usually, it has something personal, their name or whatever.
prescriptions.
Yeah.
So within the next month, he gets charged three more, and then he gets by the end of April, he is charged with seven murders. September of that year, four more charges were added for the slings of four more girls. October, four more charges for the murders of more, bringing the total to 15, making the investigation the largest of any serial killer in Canadian history. In 2005, 12 more charges were laid against him for killing of all more women. And then and one of them was an unidentified woman. So whether it was an actual
Okay.
Jane Doe, they had no idea who it was. Um,
Huh.
he now has a total of 27 charges in first degree murder.
Now that's what they can count. They
Yeah, I was
present
gonna say, and that's just what they've come across and could um
actually confirm.
confirm. Yeah, because of the different body parts. Because a lot of people don't realize he didn't keep a lot of the stuff, and then, like I said, pigs eat more than people realize. Like it's yeah. To dispose of a human, it really they're the one thing that can dispose of a human quickly and leave almost no trace of, because they do eat bones.
I've heard stories where people
Yeah, I was
you
gonna
know
say a lot of people think Hannibal Lecter, the one guy who owned a pig farm, and he got think that's baloney. It really isn't. Hogs really will eat anything.
oh yeah, I've heard of people accidentally got hurt, fell into the pig pen, and they got trampled by the pigs, and then they they were gone, literally. So
Yeah, it don't take much because especially you're talking about hogs. They eat. It is, you know.
big old sows. Big, you're talking about
Yeah.
your 100, 200 pounders. It's a lot of bacon. Um, did he have one survivor, or was they
I'm
all murdered?
looking. I haven't seen any like something. I'm trying to think, but I don't see. Well, I'm trying
Has
to go
anybody got?
through each of the things I have.
Yeah, yes, ghostly mating. They're like
Yeah,
garbage. That's what they call garbage
and
disposals.
another thing it was kind of really disgusting is in 2004, it was revealed that human flesh may have been ground up with a mixed pork from the farm. But the pork was never distributed commercially, but it was handed out to friends and visitors of the farm. Um,
Wow,
yeah, and it says that the claim is that he directly fed the bodies to his pigs.
wow.
Only in 2006, only one of the 27 accounts was rejected by the justice James Williams for lack of evidence. That was all. Um, he got all kinds of charges for. Oh, and this was too is one of the longest trials. The trial lasted for up to 2 years. Increased chances for mistrial. The judge added then the 6 counts he chose had materially different evidence from the other 20. It's like, that's crazy.
Well, 2 years. I mean, that's what 20. They said 20. You said 27 counts, though, right?
Yeah, but only one of them was miscounted. The judge took it away because of there wasn't enough evidence to pin that on him. If that makes any sense.
All right, Vinny. See ya. So okay, so basically, it was
I hope you
27.
get better, Vinny. Hi,
Um,
Anita.
it was 27. Then it went down to basically 26. Is what
Yeah.
you're saying? Okay. Um. Okay. Let's see. Greg's Inferno. There was a woman that did the same thing with her pig farm here. Is that? I was thinking that somebody. I was thinking that that happened here in the States as well. Um. But I think she ended up. She was killing men.
Oh, you.
Uh,
I know who you're talking about. I haven't come across her, and if I don't, that was something else that I thought about doing. Is after I'm doing this, do women serial killers that are very famous.
Oh, that would be interesting. But yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say I think she did the same thing as he did. She killed men, but she killed the men instead of the women.
Yeah.
Instead of women,
I know
and
who you're talking about. Yeah. She was. Yeah.
that's an interesting story there as well.
Oh yeah. Get better, Vinny.
Better, Vinny.
In 2006, by this time, he's in jail, and a 27-year-old California resident claimed that he had received 3 letters from Robert Picton in response to lottery sent under assumed identity. In the letters, Picton allegedly speaks with concern about expenses of the investigation, asserts his innocence, quotes and referrals to the Bible, praised the trial judge, and responds in detail to fictional information in these letters, which were written in guise of Maya Barrett and down on her luck woman. The news of the letter's existence was broken by the Vancouver Sun in an exclusively published on a Saturday. As that date, neither as of that date, neither law enforcement nor any representative of Picton has verified the authenticity of those letters. The Sun, however, has undertaken several actions to confirm the doctor's authenticity, including confirming the outgoing stamps and consistent of those of the North Fraser Federal Central, which is where he was held at, confirming through Representative Canada Post that the outgoing stamps are not forgeries, confirming that the machine identifiable with the serial number included the stamp used to the envelopes the machine used by the NFPC, which is the place where he's being held, literally. Yeah, this was a long going. On 2006, jury selection was made, taking just 2 days. 12 jurors and two alternates were chosen. 2007, the date for the jury trial for the first six accounts was initially set to start, but later delayed. Um, Later that month was first day of jury, which Picton faced first-degree murder and all charges of two, three, four. Most like one, two, three, four, five, six of the women. Media ban was finally lifted, and the first time Canadians heard the details. This was also the first time that the Canadians finally got to hear about this case, because up until now it had been a closed case behind the scenes. Basically, nobody else was hearing about it.
I was gonna say, probably a lot of times, especially when it's such a high, huge priority case like that.
Yeah, and
Uh,
if it was still ongoing, they don't want
well,
the news to be involved because they're nosy motherfuckers.
well, the biggest thing is though they don't want anything brought out, leaked, or anything like that when they
Mhm.
get ready to make jury selections on something that high priority case
Thank you,
because
Anita.
they want everything to be completely, you know, biased. They don't know anything about it until they actually see the evidence, hear the, testimonies and stuff like that. Then that's when they finally find out what is this case about. Um, but once they get the jury selection, a lot of times that's when they'll start rolling the news crew in, and then they
Yeah,
start saying knowing what's going on.
and this also introduced because people say about the skulls. Um, Apparently, on this was actually the stuff that they found, including skulls cut in half with hands and feet stuffed inside. So he didn't feed them the pig all the complete parts. Obviously, if they found skulls with hands and feet in them.
That's
Another remains of stuffed inside a garbage bag in the bottom of a trash can, and her blood-stained clothing was found in the trailer. So he didn't get rid of her clothes either. He ended up they were in his trailer for some reason. Um, Part of a victim's jawbone and teeth were found in the ground beside the slaughterhouse. A 22 caliber revolver was attached to a dildo containing both his and the victim's DNA, was in his laundry room, and I'm like, okay then.
weird.
And apparently he claims that he attached the dildo to the weapon as a makeshift silencer. I was like, okay then.
I'm actually speechless on this. I'm speechless. I guess
Right?
does it give any meaning to shooting a load off? Sorry, I got to. I'm sorry. Wow, keep going. That's just wrong.
Oh,
This
yeah, that's
I got.
funny.
Now I do have a question.
Yes.
And Ghostly Maiden brought this up, and you know, did this dude try to go for mental?
I don't think we have that as part of he doesn't try to do as he's mental.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't go for mental because I guarantee he could probably got it because
Well,
that's
he
some pretty
probably
sick
he
stuff.
right, and I'm pretty sure he didn't have very well of an education either with all that was happening with him and stuff. So, Yeah.
Well, he was what? Okay, so he was his dad died in 78. So he was pretty close to he was about 29 years old when his dad died. So he was
Yeah, and
quite
his mom
young.
died the next year.
Right. So okay, so he was 29 when his dad died, 30 when his mom died. So
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
30 when he inherited the whole farm.
right. So I mean, that's a lot of happened that went straight across. And then, um
Um, Ghostly, he wasn't abused, more like he was emotionally abused in a way because he was made to take care of these pigs over himself. Like his mom would send him to school smelling like pig and everything else. Like the prioritization was those pigs over her kid, over her children.
So yeah, so he was basically psychologically, emotionally abused by his parents. Well,
Yep.
then and I'm pretty sure not the kids at school as well didn't
Well,
help
like I
none
said, and
either.
he had. There's no doubt that he was obviously bullied for the way he smelled.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, even though a lot of times farmers if he's around a lot of farming land like that they're going to smell like a farm because they're at a farm in a
Right.
way. But
But I look, we all knew farmers growing up, and they sure no fuck didn't smell nasty.
no, I mean no, I mean you
I
have some
just
that you can't get all that farm smell, but I'm sure he was nasty nasty.
right.
But, I mean,
Wow, that's awesome, Anita. I'd love to. Yeah. So far the information they presented in court was inside of his trailer was a loaded 22 revolver with a big spiky black Hindu made dildo. That's what it was. So they actually completely said to a T what kind of dildo it was on top of.
wow.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like what?
I guess you got to be, hey, court and evidence, you have to be specific and detailed.
Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, it was over the barrel and one round fired. Boxes of 37 Magnum handgun ammunition, night vision goggles, two pairs of fox lined handcuffs, a syringe with 3 milliliters of blue liquid inside, and a splash fly apparatus. A videotape of Picton's friend Scott saying Picton had told him a good way to kill a female heroin addict was to inject her with windshield washer fluid. So the blue liquid in the syringe was window washer fluid. A second tape was played for Picton in which associated names Andrew said Picton mentioned killing prostitutes by handcuffing and strangling them, then bleeding and gutting them before feeding them to the pigs. So yeah, he did all of what he would have normally did to a pig, literally, when he was, you know, for food.
Did he? So I mean, basically he tortured these girls
Hey,
before he
bud.
killed. He tortured them before he killed them.
Yeah, he did his deed. He had did his obviously sex and did he got whatever and did what he needed and
That's
said,
why I was
okay, I'm
like,
not going to leave nobody behind. I'm just going to gut you like a pig and then I'm going to feed you to the pigs.
I was going to ask that. I mean, did he rape them? Because I mean,
Oh
some people
yeah, yeah,
some
yeah.
people do that. They'll rape and kill them, or they just kill them. They don't rape them because one they have issues. You know, um, they have like ED. They can't do anything, but they kill them. And also, um, I was wondering if he did that.
Yeah, and um December 9th, 2007, the jury returned a verdict that Picton was not guilty on 6 counts of first degree murder, but guilty on 6 counts of second degree murder, which is because he fed them to the pigs.
They didn't have enough evidence to get him for first, but
Got
second
him
degree.
on second degree, yep. A second degree murder conviction carries a punishment of a life sentence with no possibility of parole for a period of 10 to 25 years to be set by the trial judge. After reading 18 victim impact statements, British Columbia Supreme Court Judge Justice James Williams sentenced Picton to life with no possible parole for 25 years, the maximum punishment for a second degree murder, and equal to the sentence which would have been imposed for a first degree murder conviction. Mr. Picton's conduct was murderous and repeatedly so. I cannot know the details, but I know this. What happened to them was senseless and despicable, said Justice William in passing the sentence. The next year, the Attorney General filed an appeal in the British Columbia Court of Appeal against Picton's acquittance first degree murder charges. The grounds of appeal related to a number of evidentiary rulings made by the trial judge, certain aspects of the trial judge jury instructions and ruling to serve 6 charges. Picton was tried on the remaining 20 others. Um, some relatives of the victims in the case were taken back by the announcement of Crown appeal likely not appeal. Although Picton had been acquitted on the first degree murder charges, he was convicted of second degree murder and received the same sentence as he would have on the first degree murder convictions. See, I didn't know that either. So he still got what he would have gotten on the first degree count.
But just charged less. That's wow.
Yeah. But he's still being sentenced to life, which means even if he does, he's still never going to get out.
But that's not. But that's each count is a life sentence. So
Which is
he's
25 years for that. That's 6 counts of 25 years, and
so. I
that's
mean,
more than 100 years. So he's
right? He's
he's behind bars for the rest of his life. There is no ands, ifs, or buts.
right.
Yeah, and then 2008, his lawyers were notice of appeal in the British Court of Appeal seeking new trial on 6 counts of second degree murder. The lawyer representing Picton on the appeal is Jill McNonan and had been on a Crown prosecutor in the 1970s. The notice of appeal illuminates various areas in which the defense alleges that the trial judge erred. The main charge to the jury, the response to the jurors' questions, amending the judge charge, similar fact, evidence, and Picton statements to the police. It's like they were trying to just give him more than whatever, and who knows. People's pigs and bacon. Well, I guess back then you just know back then in the thing if you lived in Canada back then and those people and knew those people that would be the only thing. If you were getting pork from the Picton farm in Canada.
It's been. I tell you, this definitely a quite interesting case.
Yeah, it's like it makes it hard for them to like get him for the other 20 because there wasn't for real evidence, and now nowadays it's easier to convict somebody without the body, but like back then you weren't convicting nobody without some part something.
Well, well,
Um
also, okay, so wait a minute. Let me counter time again. Now, no, the court cases were when? What year was the court case?
when it started, it was in the 1994.
Okay, so all right, so really, I think when the DNA was just really just kicking off. I
Yep,
think.
just starting. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it was still in its young phase because it was like it's early '90s to mid. It was still in its early
Okay,
phases.
Haley.
Um, so but now, oh, they could go in there, walk in there now, and find the smallest minute DNA, and they can convict them on that case as long as they find that DNA. That's what matters. And um, oh yeah, he would have gotten all 27 counts plus some because
Oh
uh,
yeah. Yeah, there was apology saying from the deputy chief. He said, "I wish from the bottom of my heart that we could have caught him sooner. I wish that the families saying I da, 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 the several agencies involved that we could have done better in so many ways. I wish that all the mistakes that were made we could undo, and I wish that more lives would have been saved. So, on my behalf and behalf of the Vancouver Police Department and all the men and women that worked on this investigation, I would say to the families how sorry we are all are for your losses and because we did not catch this monster sooner."
so what has happened to the pig farm since then?
Um, Actually, it's been bought, and I think the county actually there has been like I think I have. Let me just look on here, and I do believe that they have of it now. None of the Pictons have it.
I was gonna say, did the other because I would assume that the other brother would have assumed
Well, yeah, he either took
property
it
and
or
then
yeah, but
sold it.
there's also the sister too. So that's the other thing. It wouldn't been just him.
Oh, that's
His
right.
brother and sister still owned it too.
So they probably sold and split the price of it.
Yeah, and this one says finally of December 9th, 2007, he was found guilty jury of 6 counts of second-degree murder, was sentenced to life imprisonment in a federal penitentiary with no possible parole for 25 years. Those convictions were upheld by Supreme Court in Canada in 2010. In 2018, it was revealed Picton was transferred to the Port Carrier Institution in Quebec. The maximum security penitentiary is located 600 kilometers northeast of Quebec City near the St. Louis River. So that's where he is. But like he said, if he's 70, it's more than likely that he isn't going to live another 25 years.
Oh gosh, no. And I was gonna say, um, they probably got him in a special. They probably got him in a special prison because of his age now, to where
Well,
he's
he's
not.
still the maximum. Well, in Canada, even a lot of them, even if they are at that age, the maximum security, even if it is, they still keep them in there. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, as long as there is no health issues or whatnot. Now, that can be a different. If there's health issues, they will put them in a health ward, literally part of the prison.
His health has got to be pretty rough because I mean he spent. You know, well, he's been in there for.
2018 was they got arrested in 2000. When did he get arrested? 90. So yeah, he's been in there for quite a while already, but it but the sentence didn't get until 2007. So Yeah, he may have been sitting there, but the sentence is as of 2010.
He's about. Oh, okay. So he's about uh, 15, 15 years. He's been in prison for 15 years so far. 15 years. He hasn't even served his first term at 25 yet.
Yeah, yeah, it's like I said, it's a long. He's not getting out.
He's not going. I don't think he's not even make his first 25.
Yeah, most like they said, most of them don't. It is um
If they don't kill him in the prison first, or
oh right. I'm going to hold this one on. I am going to do, since it's this way, I'm going to be, if I have time, I'll do the other one. But I want to come up and go do the newest one that is pretty new. His name is Joseph James D'Angelo Jr. He's known as the Golden State Killer, and he was born in 1945.
Golden State. So you talking about California?
I believe so, or
I
New
believe the go.
York. I know he was born in Bath, New York.
Well, I thought the Golden State would.
Oh,
I don't know. I thought the Golden State would have been California. Yes.
it could be. Well, I think it'll come up eventually. What is? Um. So yeah, he was born in Bath, New York, to Kathleen and Joseph. He was a sergeant in the United States Army. He had two sisters and a younger brother. Um. He apparently, I guess, a relative reported that he had witnessed the rape of his 7-year-old sister by two airmen. Well, yeah, because his dad was stationed at the thing in West Germany, and apparently um, watched two of his dad's buddies that were in the thing rape his 7-year-old sister. On top of he was abused by his father.
Hmm.
Okay, Greg.
Wow.
Yep, it was. I think it is the thing because this is California. So yeah, it must have been California. I think you're right because he ends up going to junior high and stuff in California. So he might have been born in New York, but they were in California. Um, by 64, he played varsity basketball. Prosecutors reported that D'Angelo committed burglaries and tortured and killed animals during his teenage years. So look, now he's also the typical serial killer, as they're calling nowadays. When they're young, they start killing young animals and whatnot. Du- 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 He graduated in 71, an associate's degree in police science with honors.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is why they didn't catch him is because he become a police officer. He graduated, is like I said, Sacramento State University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. D'Angelo later took post grad courses and further police training at the College of Sequoias Vizsla, then completed a 32-week police intern- internship at the police department in Roseville. Um, and this is what I think is why he got away with him because he was a burglary unit police officer. So he knew very well how to do all that stuff. Um, eh, Between August 76 and 79, he was arrested for shoplifting and a hammer and dog repellent. He was sentenced to 6 months of probation and fired that October. During the process of being fired, D'Angelo threatened to kill the chief of police and allegedly stalked the chief's house.
Wow.
Yeah, right. You know he did wrong because he was like, well, what? Well, I'm gonna go stalk the police, the chief of police. Um, Before he became a rapist and murderer, he was responsible for a series of I can't even say that word, burglaries in the northern California city of Visalia. He took small trophies from the homes he broke into and spent time going through women's underwear drawers. Go figure.
No. I guess no.
And he goes off the screen.
I mean, this. Okay, so he started off with. So far, he started off with mild. Not really mild, but killing animals. Went from killing animals to shoplifting. From
Yeah, this.
shoplifting to burglaries, and you know, and then also he's taking trophies.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's just like they gradually went from something to something not so eh, to they're stepping it up higher and higher.
yep.
And oh yeah, I forgot the stalking and threatening to kill the chief.
Chief of police, right?
Yeah, he's really he's upgrading pretty quick in a short period of time, and then short period of time.
Yeah, literally within years of September 11th, 1975, D'Angelo, who was a police officer at the time, shot and killed journalism professor Claude Snelling in front of his daughter Elizabeth at their California home. And this is, these things I'm about to say are things that people come back and were saying to him in court when they actually had court. My father caught him twice peering in my bedroom window when he came home from teaching night school and tried to chase him down but wasn't able to catch him. Elizabeth, who was 16 years old at the time, she said she was awakened by an intruder in a sky mask who pointed a gun at her head. She said he was taking me with him, and if I made any noise, he would kill me. D'Angelo drove her out of the house with a at gunpoint at her head at gunpoint, and her dad charged out of the house. D'Angelo fired two shots, hitting my dad, she told the court. He then turned the gun on me as I was down on the ground. My only thought was, this is it. He started kicking me in the head and face and then ran off. She was one of the survivors, but he did kill her dad.
Hmm.
Instead of killing her, which is what he was after, he ended up killing her dad for jumping in and whatnot. And obviously, that was too much because once you hear a gunshot, people are going to be calling
Oh yeah, definitely. You just brought a lot of attention to you.
if he fired two shots, damn well and good cops are going to be called, and yeah, so he had to get out of there.
Right.
June in 1976. The first reported rape that has been linked to him took place in Sacramento County. This attack was followed by more assaults in the eastern part of Sacramento County. At this point in his criminal career, um, the Golden State Killer came to be known as the East Area Rapist also. He would assault more than 40 women in Northern California between 1976 and 1979. During these crimes, D'Angelo often spent hours in his victims' homes, sometimes taking breaks from the assaults to eat or cry, which I didn't understand that, but okay. He also He stole personal items such as jewelry or photographs. Initially, he targeted women and girls. Two of his victims were just 13, who were alone with children, but by 1977 he was attacking couples. He would often break into a house, Have a female victim tie up her male partner and place dishes on the bound man's back. The rapist would warn that he'd kill the couple if these items fell, then would go on to assault his female victim. Some victims were later taunted by phone calls from their assailant. So he was being a smartass on top of doing it. He knew their numbers and was calling them.
You know the thing that I find crazy part is it, it, this all started
Hey,
when he
GT.
EGT it all started with his sister being raped. That's the thing. That's crazy. It started with that to where
Yeah,
now he's going.
you just brought that up. That is a good point. He saw two grown men raping a young child.
Now, see, not me. On my hand, I'd be wanting to go kill. If that was me,
Absolutely.
I would be pretty much. I'd probably be going after servicemen. That would
Oh,
be
right.
right. I would, in the servicemen. That would, to me, that makes more sense to go after. But
Right.
but the sense
Instead
that
of,
now
oh,
he's
wait, but yeah,
now
it's
he's raping, and not only that, but he would rape young girls as well. So I mean, it, I don't know. I guess in a way,
Sis, will you go check the food and stir it, please?
now here's the thing. I guess it's kind of like when some people are, especially when they're young, they're sexually abused young. A lot of them will end up becoming rapists themselves or molesters or whatever themselves
Mm-hmm.
for some reason. That's it's like that's what they become, even though they went through it. It was very traumatic, but they end up doing it to others, and it's weird how they why they do that. And that's what it sounds like this guy's doing exactly that.
Well, he using being a cop, and then he's terrorizing. Like, look, I can be this way, and I can use my abuse and the abuse of the power because of being, I was a cop. I know what I'm doing, and that's scary because when people, and there not all cops are good and not all whatever military men are good. It's they use it as a power trip on people. Some of them just do
Well,
that.
it's any as people, it's just people with yeah, that has like the authority or the image of authority. I
Yep.
mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a uniform, like cops,
Yeah, it could be
cops to,
anything. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, anybody's got that authority type,
Yep.
uh, going image, teachers, principals, stuff like that. Um,
Oh yeah, because we all
Anybody.
look, and I brought it up more than once, and I know people hate it, but where did a lot of this shit started? It started in the church. A lot of the sexual abuse started in churches. Using the authority, like you just said, unfortunately, people were that sick.
So, so he's killed one guy so far.
Huh?
He's only killed one person so far, right?
Yep.
That girl's dad.
Yep. And then, like he said, and numerous. They by this point they said 40, but that's only assuming how many people he's raped.
Because I mean, figure being a cop, he knows what they're going to look for, what they're going to ask, how to do things the right way to not get caught. He knows,
Hmm.
and then I'm sure a lot of times, guess what? He's probably in on the investigations.
Yep. And then um, the next one in 1978, which was 2 years later, a survivor who was raped at the age of 23 addressed D'Angelo directly, telling him, "You will not defeat me. You will not break me." She said she had loved to water ski since she was 3 years old. But the night that you violently attacked me, you mentioned seeing me at the lake and that I looked good. I've never water skied again. Because he told her where he saw her, so it took her fear into another whole level. He said, "You destroyed the life that I had," she told him. But she said, "I'm free to leave the courtroom and lead the life I choose. You are going to spend the rest of your miserable life in a cage." Yep, and this end, I don't know when that was. That probably was January. And then February, Brian and Kate were shot dead while walking their dog. After Brian was shot, his wife ran away and yelled for help, but D'Angelo caught up with her and shot her in the head as well. Um, so he doesn't do any more killing, but there's no saying he didn't go and rape multiple people since then, because that was like February of 1978. He doesn't do anything for like almost over a year until December of 1979, where he gets another couple um, that he was bound. Manning was bound, raped, and shot twice in the head, while Hoffman was bludgeoned and shot 4 times. So he was there again. He's going after the couples. And then it says after 1979, the serial rapes in Northern California ceased. D'Angelo was now targeting people in Southern California. So he stopped being north and went south.
Mhm.
He
Yeah,
continued, huh?
yeah, because you don't, you don't, it's getting too hot,
Yeah,
and that's a good way to get caught. If you start once you start doing, you do so much, you only do so much, then the area becomes too hot. You got to move, or you're gonna you increasing your chances
yep.
that much more to get caught.
Yep, he continued to rape female victims, then brutally murder them and their male partners if they were present. So between 1979 and 1986, 10 people, four heterosexual couples, and two individual women were killed by D'Angelo in Santa Barbara, Ventura, and Orange counties. Several suspects were cleared through DNA, alibi, or other investigation means and methods. Um, by this time, him and his wife and his 3 daughters, and his wife became a divorce attorney at the time. So he had 3 kids. He has 3 daughters. By March 1980, Charlene Smith and her husband, attorney Lyman Smith, Lyman, I don't know how to pronounce it, were killed in their Venture home. The couple was found dead by um, Smith's 12-year-old son, Gary. The walls were splattered with blood and gray matter. The bed was saturated with body fluid. Smith's daughter, Jennifer, said, "Gary gently lifted the corner of the comforter to find my dad's face down in the pillow, cemented to the fabric by his own blood." She was 18 at the time. So, yeah, there was all these memory people telling him memories from. Um,
S-
by the time he got caught, it had been like, when I get to it, he got caught. It was 15, 20 years down the road after he did all these killings, and then he got busted for it.
I,
So yeah, that's what I well, and this one also has a plot twist, because when I get to that, because he is um one of the first ever that they used
lethal injection.
no, he was first to let me look up here. Yeah, he was the first public arrested obtained through genetic genealogy. They actually used his family members, is blood type DNA to capture him. That was the
Wow.
only way that they were able to capture him, because of when he was doing these things, the DNA wasn't coming up to nobody that was in the record, so they never figured it out. But when they finally suspected it was him, they went to willing family members to get his to get DNA from.
Now, so I was surprised. I guess it wasn't that public, but I'm surprised that the police department didn't have their DNA on file.
Yeah, I thought of that too. Like, why didn't they have his?
But I guess it could have been because it was so, uh, early stages of it, possibly. I don't know. But so, okay, so now you're saying that their kids are the ones that are finding the parents?
Well, this is the ones I'm reading now are people are actually the kids who found their parents and whatnot in court. These A lot of these are testimonies from the kids that witnessed these. Like, that was the 12-year-old who found his dad and mom dead in their own bed, bludgeoned to death.
That's gotta be
I can only imagine what that would do to a 12-year-old
right.
to see, because he said, or the 18, when at the time she said she was 18 at the time, and she said splattered with blood and gray matter. And to know in that kind of detail, I can only imagine, even at 18. But he was
Mhm.
only 12 when he was her brother, who was only 12, is the one who found the parents.
Oh, so he had to do that much. He literally had to beat that head to a pulp. Um,
Yeah, I think you're right, Ghostly. And this is only 1980, so like
yeah.
it for real like took a minute for them to catch up. Like I said, it starts going through all the different. There's a couple of other people that ended up. Then there was another couple. There was a couple more couples by the time of 1986, and then in 2016, the FBI and law enforcement agencies held a news conference to announce the national effort and a USA $50,000 reward for his capture. So they started. And then 2018, authorities announced the arrest of suspect 72-year-old Joseph James D'Angelo Jr. on 6 counts of first-degree murder because of state laws, and D'Angelo couldn't be charged for the 1970s rapes. See, because of all of that shit, he got away with all the rapes that he committed.
Oh, yeah, because of
The saturation limits.
yes, yep.
Yeah. He pleaded in to 2020. He pleaded guilty to multiple counts of murder and kidnapping. August 21st of 2020, he was sentenced to 12 consecutive life sentences without parole plus 8 years, but he was charged for the murders and kidnappings. D'Angelo's employment history during the 80s is unknown. From 1990 until his retirement in 2017, he worked as a truck mechanic at a Save Mart supermarkets distributed center in Roseville. He was arrested in 1996 for failing to pay gas, but the charge was dismissed. D'Angelo's brother-in-law claimed um, that D'Angelo would casually bring up the East Area rapist and conversation around the time of the original crimes. Neighborhoods reported that he frequently engaged in loud, profane outbursts. So he was known to be loud and whatnot. Um, yeah, it's
So He just basically 2 years ago, he finally got sentenced 2 years ago, basically in 2020, you said?
Uh huh.
So, okay, so he was 75. 75
He was,
when he
yeah,
was
2000, yeah,
sent.
because 2018 is when they found him, and that when he was 72, and then so yeah, he was 74 by the time they gave him his parole sentence.
Yeah, because he's 77 now.
Yeah, like I said, they literally didn't find him. He literally was living his life. He was living with his daughter and granddaughter. He had done his murders, done his shit, stopped doing it, and was living his life.
Wow.
So
Wow, wow, wow.
he lived his life. He got to live a life. You know, what's he gonna do? Like, really, I'm 70 something now, sitting in jail, prison. What, big deal. That to me, that I feel that that's what he feels. Oh
Scorpio
yeah,
seems strong.
absolutely. They said the Scorpios really can be just a lot of all of the serial killers, no matter what your way you do it. A lot of just they're vindictive. The only one that is really be interesting is my own uh, serial killers because they're random, which says a lot about Aries.
You haven't done Gemini yet, have you?
No, I have not. That is, I think that's actually my next one on the list,
That's me.
and I will start that one in the beginning of the year. Depends. Well, after this end, I know I have another one Thursday coming up. I will do another one coming up Thursday to finish off
Yeah,
my Scorpio, the
because we're gonna be able to
finish off
finish
the
this.
Scorpios.
We'll be able to finish this one off here, because
And like I said, he was the first of genetic genealogy, a new technique that takes the DNA of an unknown suspect left behind at the crime scenes and identifies him or her by tracing a family tree through his or her family members who voluntarily submit their DNA to public genealogy databases. To identify D'Angelo, investigators narrowed the family tree search based on age, location, and other characteristics. Authorities conducted surveillance on D'Angelo and connected his DNA from a tissue left in a trash can. Investigators plugged his discarded DNA back into the genealogy database and found a match, linking D'Angelo's DNA to the DNA found at multiple crime scenes. Prosecutors said since D'Angelo's April 2018 arrest, over 150 other crime suspects have been identified through genetic genealogy now. So with this genealogy, they're getting way more stuff out of it.
oh yeah, because that's how they they're finding um
Yeah, GT. He
lost
killed
people.
couples. He didn't kill families. He killed couples. His biggest thing is at first it was just going after girls, and then he started killing couples. It started to become a game. I think. I think that's why he started killing couples. It became a game. But yeah, I will obviously like I finished that one, but like I will do another one thing. The other one's really short, so I could probably finish it too. The other one really is just I know Willa was talking about it. The guy who is called the ABC murder.
I've heard about it, but don't really. So let me guess. He basically killed people by their names in
No,
alphabetical order.
actually, the reason why it's called the ABC murder is the cities that he was killing in.
So he did that. The cities in alphabetical order then.
Yep, the provinces of South Africa started in. Let me see if I can find.
Oh, so this is in Africa.
Yeah, So I did. This one actually is a different one, but he's well known for, because obviously the ABC killer, so he was well known. His and what a name! His name is Moses Sithole.
Okay.
Right?
Now, now tell me this though. You said you want that you're thinking about after you get done with the zodiacs. All right. You're thinking about doing women.
Hmm.
Now, are you gonna now? I know there's some. I might be wrong about this. I know I heard remember they call but the black widow. There was a woman killer and she was like a black widow. She was constantly she'd marry, kill them, then remarry again, kill them. She was
Very
killing them and
interesting.
getting the money off of them. She'd marry, people got men with guys with money, and
Oh,
she
okay.
would
Oh, and I know
kill
you're.
them.
I think I know where you're. What you're onto. Yeah,
She
this.
would. She would kill them, and then she remarried them again.
There's a lot of even if you don't, there's a lot of women out there that do that shit anyway, or will literally marry somebody because of their money, and then
Yeah.
or the same very older men that they know have money and will get involved with that man just so that they can get that inheritance or whatever from.
Oh yeah. Have you done typhoid? You haven't done Typhoid Mary yet, have you?
About who?
Typhoid Mary.
I don't think so.
Typhoid Mary. You know about Typhoid Mary, right?
I can't say I do.
Okay, Typhoid Mary. She was a woman. It was a woman, and the problem is she was a carrier. She didn't have symptoms. She was just a carrier of typhoid.
Oh boy.
Hence Typhoid Mary.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about now. I've heard the
And
stories
she killed.
because the supposedly that house that she was at is actually haunted.
Because what it was is she would sit there and she killed quite a bit of people. Um, because what happened was they were dying from
She
typhoid.
was because she was a servant and she made food. I remember that.
But she worked at a restaurant as well, like a
Oh
restaurant.
yeah, yeah. At the time, yeah, but she was also a very much of a servant,
Mhm.
and it just her having it
They
makes
actually,
it well
but
saved.
they couldn't. Here's the thing is though they couldn't. They didn't know. She didn't even know it was her.
Yeah, a lot of times at them because they didn't
But they
that
traced it
she
back
didn't
to
know
her.
she was carrying it for the longest time,
Right.
but she did go back and uh, even after she wasn't supposed to, she went back other in other states or whatever and
Working in
um,
restaurants or
do
whatever.
restaurants again and do it because she knew what she had. She just loved doing what she did.
Right. But they ended up. So they basically they arrested her for, you know, they had to put her because she was a uh look out, I'm a Gemini. I'm a Gemini. Um I was born in June. So
My mom's a Gemini. She was born the end of May.
yeah, so but they basically they
Hi,
had to
Karen.
okay. So they basically put had to put her away, you know, not because they got her for murder, but because she was,
She's
a
a health hazard.
well, yeah, she was a, yeah, she was
Literally.
a danger to society, but not in a murdering, like a serial killer or anything like that. They are a danger to society, but that's because they killed them. She's doing it because of what she has.
Yeah,
So
and it wasn't, yeah, but it would have been one thing if she stopped doing it, but she knew what she was doing
oh yeah,
after that.
oh
So,
definitely. Okay. Mm. Those are definitely two interesting cases you did tonight. I enjoyed
huh?
it. I said that was two interesting cases. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to see
I
what.
yeah, and very interesting. Like the pig killer, like that was a big deal, like in Canada history because that. that raised so much attention and whatnot. Yeah, I can only imagine, especially if that their farm was well known um,
Oh,
to be
to the
for the
community.
food and whatnot. So yeah,
Oh yeah. Ugh, ugh.
and the Golden State Kill, that one was for real. That one I was like, you know that, and to be just recently caught, and he was already 70 some. He already done lived his life. Like, what was he gonna care now if he got busted?
R-
Because
r-
he had done already lived his life.
right.
It is but it's been back and forth too, because we all know that there's also cases where that there's men that have sit and are sitting in prison, and they've sat there for 15, 20 years, and they didn't do it. The person did it is still out. It's kind of like messed up with those
Well,
kind of cases.
yeah, because a lot of them they committed the murders. They got sentenced before you know, um, before DNA was available,
Yeah.
and now they're doing, they're going. Some of them are going back. That have, it costs a lot to do it, to try to reopen the case, to um to do a DNA, and they're coming out innocent. They say, hey, wait a minute, whoa, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. Um, yeah, uh,
But the states don't want to know that kind of mess up, because what kind of liability, and they've got to pay that person whatever for all that time that they've spent in prison for that.
well, yes,
It's
restitution. Yes, they do. But the thing is, though, it looks worse to have them still in prison, knowingly they didn't do it. I mean, that's then now they can be liably sued. But the thing is, though, it's not the state's fault, the court system's fault, but because they didn't have that type of test at that time. That is definitely.
Well, see, the funny thing is, GT, that you speak of, um, was the it's probably been roughly like 5 years ago. I had saw a documentary where they really think that Sherlock Holmes was Jack the Ripper, because of the time that he spent in Europe and then came home. Because the time that timeline made it perfect between of him being there and him coming back to the United States. I need to find that
Well, see,
documentary again, but it was really interesting watching that, because they were putting the pieces. There was so much information that fit too well. You're talking and it's on mute.
yeah, I know.
Okay.
Um. Now, see, I thought it was rumor had it that he came to the U.S. At least that's what I heard. I heard that
You
was
heard
it was.
say that again, because you went off too fast and I didn't catch it.
I said I heard rumor had it that he came to the U.S. That Jack Ripper came
Right,
to the
and
U.S.
that's why they was pictating that it could be Sherlock Holmes, because he did at one point spend time in Europe, and then but look, and by the time he came back to the United States, the killing stopped. So it was like they were putting the timeline; it would fit too well, and there was all kinds of details. I need to find and research and see if I can't find that documentary that I was looking up,
Yeah,
of their case, if I want to put it that way, why they think it was him.
yeah. I was gonna say that's what I heard. I heard that as well. That that it. they suspect it could possibly be Sherlock Holmes, which
Right, which is what right, which is why because he was a for real doctor, and it would have made sense for him to be over there doing whatever.
well,
And
wait a minute though.
then,
I thought it was I thought no, I didn't know Sherlock Holmes was a doctor. I thought Watson was a doctor.
well, I have to look it up
It was
in
Doctor because it
actual
was Doctor Sherlock Holmes and Doctor Watson, and that's it.
right.
And that's the thing though. It wasn't just a storybook. He really did exist. A
Oh
real,
yeah, that's what a lot of people don't is. And Holmes is actually was from Indiana, so that's another interesting thing. So,
so he was born in the States and went to
yep,
Europe and went from Europe back to the States.
yep, and that's why they that has fit. But like I have to, like I said, I'll need to go find that because when I came across it, I was like intrigued, and I was like, watch that 2 hour or whatever that all the evidence that they were coming up with to suspect it could have been him. Now he's the only one that I've known that them, but allow the Zodiac killer himself, they still to this day have no clue. Even though the Zodiac wanted to be caught, he never got caught.
Because wait a minute, Zodiac Killer. That's the one that they supposedly went from California to New York, from New York back to California.
He was for real. Whoever the Zodiac killer was very particular in his killings. His victims never saw him coming. He killed couples. He was gruesome and thing, but he also taunted the cops with newspapers. He was writing letters. He was calling the cops. He wanted to be caught, but it never happened because they couldn't figure out. They couldn't cipher any of the stuff that he had sent, so he never got caught.
Hmm. I tell you, you know, it, there's some gruesome ones out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I said it just recently, like it's it like no, like here, like in our kids this hundred times generation, like if they're not serial killers, there's killers out there, but not serial killers. You know what I
But
mean? Like
n- now, uh, uh,
it's like that has literally died down, and I think that it has for the simple fact is it's not as easy to hide like it was back then.
no, 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 no. Now, like, yeah, he wasn't a serial killer, but he was definitely a killer,
Right.
and it was a well-known story. They actually, um, uh, I, I'm sure they made a movie about it, or doc. It was definitely a documentary about it. And I've actually been to the house. Well, actually, it was a duplex. Actually, it was a duplex. Uh, it was in Fort Bragg, right there in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
And what happened was is that they so anyways he killed his wife and kids.
Right. Well, I could tell you, Nate, a lot of serial killers look up to other serial killers. I have come across other serial killers saying, "Well, I did this because Ted Bundy done this, or I done this because so and so did this." Um, One of my serial killers back in tried doing what Ted Bundy did was having sex with dead women bodies, and he's like, "Nope, I couldn't do it." So like they not everybody can do what other, but I think they do tend to the ones who have become well known. I'll say like Ted Bundy. they tend to look up to them and ideas of what he did and whatnot.
Like I, like I said,
Good night, Roger. Thank you for coming.
this one he was like I said, this he was actually he was like well, that'd been pretty cool, really.
Oh yeah, right, Greg. That would have been awesome.
Um, now yeah, went to the house, but suppose what happened was they literally he beat them to death. And literally, I mean, it was ranging from, I think it was the youngest one was 7 years old. His dog,
Yeah, I
and the
wouldn't
other one
just.
was, I think the other one was like 12, 14, 13, and she was a little bit older than the youngest one, and then his wife, and he used a between a baseball bat, a 2x4. He mixed it up because I think one of them actually broke when he was beating them.
No, thank you.
And yeah, he just covered the walls. They were literally the
I
his
couldn't
family was
imagine
covering the
because
walls.
you talk about that, and that reminds me of that movie where that one it's I forget, but the boy ends up being, I think he is, I think he wanted to, he was end up being gay, and the one kid ended up literally beating him with a bat, and like I'm just like, that reminds me of that, like to to survive or even to remotely think and to have to what's the word I'm looking for, to endure that pain, because you know every time that they whack you with something, especially like a metal bat, you're gonna feel every bit of that everywhere. Like
Or
that's just, I couldn't imagine.
yeah, the
Like I can only imagine being beaten to death. I'd be like, I would be praying to God, just let me die. Like, like that would just be, that's suffering.
now and here's the crazy part. You want to know the crazy part about this whole thing?
Hmm.
He took the bat and beat himself with it.
How? That would be hard, I would
He
think.
did. Whatever he could find. He took the bat. He beat it himself with it. He would hit himself, or he would find stuff.
Wow.
He would run into things to beat himself up. And what he did, that's how he got away with it.
Wow.
And as far as I know, they have still have yet to get, you know, put somebody to that crime, to the murder. They
Oh,
know it's
that's
him.
crazy.
They know it's him. They try to prosecute him. Her family knew it was him, and everything else. But you know, all his buddies testified that he wouldn't couldn't have done it. And he said that somebody busted into broke in and did it.
Of course.
And but the thing that they said because he was so beaten up, he beat himself up so badly. But the to make money, yeah, right? Um, so uh, but they were wanting to try to do it, but they just didn't have the enough evidence. Because you know, um, they knew it was him. Because it's strange that they were beaten to a bloody pulp, killed, but he was just beaten up.
Right.
So,
He was trying to make it look like self-defense, basically.
well, no, he's like he fought them off. He came home or whatever. He did something or something, and he came. He came up on them, and it was just yeah. They knew it was fishy, and but they didn't have enough to pin him.
Gotcha.
And as far as I know, that place that was never rented out. I mean, I saw in the windows of the duplex. I could see in the bedrooms. Um, they, it was empty, no furniture. but they cleaned it up, but nobody rented it because it's known.
Yep.
So, eh,
Oh, but right on.
uh,
I think we
so
got most of it. I think I will do, and I will continue the ABC killer for Thursday with another guy that I've come all across that's been really popular. And it's called the Toy Box Killer. I know some people probably know who I'm talking about when I'm talking about that.
mm,
That guy got away with a bunch of shit too for before a long time before he
mm,
finally got caught. Oh yeah, I agree with you there. If you're talking about um haunted stuff and weird happenings, the Cecil Motel definitely is all kinds of that. Oh, Ghostly, you have heard the Toy Box Killer? Yeah, a lot of people are like, "Wait, what?" But yeah, he's one of my main ones I will be talking about on Thursday when I do my next one. But thank you everyone for showing up and listening, and I'm enjoying this. And now I'm actually between Carl and my other one. When Will is feeling good, Will will be up here, so I will enjoy more interaction with the kind of questions because you definitely might bring out for me helping with asking questions and whatnot. That's kind of what like I was looking for to do in the first place, to having somebody up here actually helping me with that. So thank you for coming up here for me tonight.
well, you're welcome. Anytime.
Oh, that would be awesome, Ghostly. I would love that if you came up here. No, not joking. You don't have to show your face if you really don't want to. But that would be great because I know you and I talk a lot about that too. That she's really
Oh,
into that stuff too. She's really into like knowing some of the stuff that we talk about like that.
yeah, I think, but yeah, and I think having Willa with her, she did go, with her going to school to be a
Yep.
uh,
So she
criminal
has
justice.
background, yeah, and she has background information to like the questions she would be asking would be different than what everybody else would be asking because she knows the questions to ask.
I just asked the questions that I think they're just a curiosity questions. Well, I mean, because I'm like, okay, what about this and this and that? Um,
Yeah, and it does, and it helps a lot of looking for like some of the questions you got to ask the questions of these people. And you made a point that for me, then it didn't even register because most of them registered. Like the pig farmer that registered as his mom and his parents literally prioritized the pigs over him, so he was emotionally, and I guess their father on top of was very abusive, but he was very mama's boy. So I'm
mhm,
wondering if she didn't also sexually abuse him on top of.
she could have.
Yeah, like it said that like he was mama's favorite and he didn't get abused like his brother. So that's what kind of like it kind of did he
Well,
not get sexually abused by his
well,
mom, not thinking it was sexually abuse. And
well, look. I mean, you gotta think about it. It's like I said earlier. Ones that are sexually abused usually turn out. And then I mean, he went after strictly the women. He went after the
yep.
ones that were the prostitute hookers, prostitutes, and all that.
Well, and
So
that's what they say. They usually when it's when a boy gets sexually molested by a woman, they go after women when they're older and do whatever. It's vice versa with a girl going after it just that's what happens psychologically. It's sometimes they end up doing it because there's girls that I can say, and I'm not going to go there because it's personal, but like girls do it too. Like when they are sexually molested by males, they will go after older men when they are older, or to because that's what they know. That's what they got taught, literally.
Well,
Oh
definitely.
yeah, absolutely. GT, the zodiacs and how they choose. That's how I was saying, like, Aries really is radical. It's kind of funny because we're a fire sign, and the two most popular things for an Aries serial killer or a killer to use is a firearm or fire itself.
Okay, so all right, what about the Geminis?
I have to look that up because I the thing looking up them because I haven't got
Gemini,
to that yet. So,
well, I mean, Geminis are known for, well, they say twins, but they're also
but you know
that
what,
means you're two-sided.
two
Well,
sided. Yeah, you can be one way. You can be like it. Just yeah,
and then also,
They're stubborn asses too. Let me tell you. And I'm
I mean,
not
couple.
saying to you particular. I'm like that's my
Oh no, I'm
mom.
bullheaded. Trust me, I'm bullheaded. I admit
Yeah.
it. But also, they're. But the thing is, though, Geminis are
Hey,
lovers.
Chris.
That's the thing, though. They're big lovers. They're lovers. So that's the hard part. I don't understand. I wonder. So I wonder. I know. I think Gemini is going to be kind of interesting.
Much love, Chris.
I'm looking forward to that. Definitely. Um, I am definitely looking forward to the Gemini
But
stage.
yes, alrighty. We are at 1:45, so I'm going to end it now. And if you want, I'm going to go check out Joker on the Kick on the new platform. It's pretty awesome. Watching him and being funny, it's all the laughing and everything else. Oh yeah, yeah, Ghostly Capricorns were my first one, and they have the reason why they were number one just to put on there is the Capricorns killed more. They they killed more people in, than most serial killers. They have to kill four or more to be serial killers, but Capricorns were for real. They had multiple killings, like way more than usual. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
right,
Well,
right.
exactly. That's what they. I mean, they say that's what we have two sides. We have the side that's, well, we have a good side and we can have a bad side. You got, good and dark side. Um, so, and definitely, I mean, we definitely do have that two sides.
But absolutely, everyone. So my next one will be Thursday. I should be posting it tonight, if not tomorrow, early tomorrow. I will be doing another one Thursday, so I have two in this week. And since I missed last week was just kind of all chaotic, so I just kind of stayed out of the. But thank you, everyone, again for coming and listening to my stories and listening to Chucky. um, but I appreciate every one of you all for the support and love. And I appreciate you, Carl, again for coming up here with me. And
you're welcome.
it helps a lot having someone else up here to talk with and
Interact.
ask questions, actually ask questions versus just agreeing with or whatever.
Yeah, actually getting the interactions. That's what you do.
But yes,
All right.
much
All
love
right.
to everyone
Y'all have
and
a good night.
appreciate you all.
Definitely. Thanks for letting me be up here. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
I'm going to end the stream.